Today we are making this beautiful and delicious marble layer cake. This is one of my most popular recipes and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. We start by combining our dry ingredients, which include our all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, baking powder, and salt. We mix that together until everything is combined, and then we add in our unsalted butter. We're going to mix this on a medium speed until our mixture starts to look kind of like wet sand, something like this, and then we're going to add in our room temperature egg whites. You can also just use 7 large egg whites, or you can use 4 large eggs. Once that's combined, we're adding in our buttermilk, our vegetable oil, and our vanilla extract. Now this is a lot of liquid, so I like to pulse it a few times before I start fully mixing, just so that none of my buttermilk kind of shoots out of my bowl as I start to mix everything together. Once I feel like everything starts to come together, I increase the speed a little bit until our batter is nice and smooth. Then I scrape around the sides and bottom of the bowl, which is really important. Sometimes some of those dry ingredients can get trapped at the bottom. Then I mix on a medium speed for about 30 seconds just to make sure everything is combined, and then our vanilla batter is all ready to go. I'm pouring 2/3 of this, or about 1,200 grams, into a separate bowl and setting it aside, and then we're transforming our remaining batter into some chocolate cake batter. To do this, we're adding in unsweetened cocoa powder, sugar, egg whites, baking powder, and salt, and we're mixing that together until everything is combined. The last component of these cake layers is optional, but it's the Fudge Ripple, and it's so delicious. We melt together some chocolate chips, unsalted butter, and heavy cream. I like to heat this in the microwave for about a minute, let it sit, and then stir until it's nice and smooth. And then it's time to swirl together our cake layers. I'm alternating spoonfuls of our vanilla and our chocolate cake batter, and then to the top of the cake layer, I'm adding some dollops of that Fudge Ripple. Then we're just going to swirl it all together with vertical and horizontal lines using an offset spatula or a butter knife. This is always my very favorite part of the process, and I think it's so pretty and so satisfying to swirl together our cake batter. We're baking that in a preheated 350-degree oven for about 32 to 35 minutes, and while those bake, we work on our chocolate buttercream. After mixing our unsalted butter until it's smooth, we add in our vanilla extract and our fine salts, and once that's all mixed together, we're going to very slowly add in our powdered sugar. We're mixing this on the lowest setting, and halfway through I like to add in my heavy cream and scrape the sides of the bowl just to make the frosting easier to mix. Then we add in our remaining powdered sugar until our buttercream is silky smooth, just like this. We're scooping about 1 cup of frosting into a separate bowl to help decorate the cake later, and then we're adding in our unsweetened cocoa powder, melted chocolate, and some more heavy cream. Once our chocolate buttercream is all ready to go, it's time to assemble our cake. Now, normally I recommend leveling our cake layers, but these cake layers actually bake up really flat, and if you find that yours are domed at all, you can always use a slightly smaller cake band to just kind of press down the doming and help flatten them out. We don't want to level them because we want all that beautiful marbling and that fudge ripple to stay in place. To assemble this cake, we're adding a generous layer of chocolate buttercream between each cake layer, and then we're adding a thin crumb coat around the cake just so that our second layer of frosting is crumb-free. Once we've smoothed out this crumb coat, we're going to pop our cake in the fridge or freezer and chill until the frosting is firm to the touch. Then it's time for the fun part, decorating the outside of this cake. I wanted to make the frosting kind of look marbled together just like the cake layers, so I made some swoops with a large offset spatula with my chocolate buttercream, then went in with some of that white buttercream that we set aside earlier, and then the final step is to add in a little bit of the chocolate fudge ripple that we had left over from our cake layers on top of all of that. I really love this decoration because it turns out so beautiful and stunning, but it's such a forgiving design and it's actually pretty easy to do. I recommend working in patches around the cake, so I did about 1/4 of the cake at a time, just so that your frosting doesn't crust and you can swirl everything together and give your cake a really cohesive, beautiful finished look. And just like that, our marble cake is all ready to go. You guys have to try this recipe. It's seriously one of my very favorites. The recipe is linked in the video description below, or you can always search Chelsweets marble cake. And until next time, happy baking.